Welcome to Knife Thoughts. This video is going to be an unboxing of this Leatherman Sidekick, and this is a Costco exclusive. So I don't really know that I needed another Leatherman, but I decided to get this because my only other Leatherman actually right now is this Leatherman Bolster, which was also from Costco. And so I've carried and used this quite a bit. I actually sent it in to Leatherman for repair at one point. The pocket lip bent and I couldn't get it off. And so I wanted to check this one out. Also, I really like this color. They have a light blue and dark blue version, and then they have a green and gray version, and then they have a stainless version. So you might be able to hear I've got the washer going on next to me, and also my son is blowing a train whistle upstairs, so just bear with me on that. But the bolster here is going to be kind of a comparison, first impressions, overview and comparison. The bolster here is a good budget Leatherman. It was $40 from Costco, but that was like 4 years ago. 2021 I believe is when they had these. You've got a one-hand opening blade, but it's relatively difficult to open one hand in my opinion. It's just kind of hard to get into that opening slot, and it is not smooth. It's, you know, pretty tight in there. But then that's the only outside accessible tool. The rest of the tools are in the handle, and you have the lanyard loop, which is, I think, pretty useless in my opinion. It's a can opener, bottle opener, which also has a wire stripper, a roller, and file. I have used that file. It's not a great file in my opinion, but you know, it's mostly because it's just tiny. And then that's also a flathead or pry. And then there is a small serrated blade, which I actually have used a good amount. And there is a flathead, larger flathead, and a Phillips, which is kind of a flat Phillips like Leatherman usually uses. And then you've got the pliers with the hard wire cutters, or the, you know, whatever that is there, the cutter. I really like that these are spring loaded. A lot of Leatherman's pliers are not. It seems like on the higher end ones they're not, and then the lower end ones are. I prefer it. I think a lot of people don't, but I like it. I don't really use pliers all that much, to be completely honest, but I think I'm going to use the little serrated blade to open this. And of course you got to kind of get in there with your fingernail to get it open, and then close the pliers, and there you go. So whereas this one was $40, I think it ended up being $42 or something after taxes, again, like 4 years ago. This one is $52 after taxes, so it's basically $10 more. Kind of having trouble here. There we go. $10 more 4 years later, which I think is really good, because you know, unless you are a billionaire or something, you know that everything is more expensive now, and by a lot, than it was in 2021. Certainly than it was before then. But so, you know, $10 more is pretty good, especially because this has another outside accessible tool. So before I get into the tool itself, I do want to get at this, and I'll show you here the Sidekick, which is kind of a classic. It's like one of their better known budget friendly multi-tools, I would say. But you can see it's got a bunch of tools. It's got 14 different tools, and you know, kind of really everything that I would want for the most part, except for scissors. I really wish that it had scissors. You know, you can get this for $50, and then it has like most of the stuff that the more expensive ones have that do have scissors. It'd be nice if it had scissors, but you know, it is what it is. You know, the new alpha versions are $200+, so 50 versus 200, it makes a big difference. And I carry scissors in my wallet all the time anyway, and my Victorinox Swiss Card Light. But anyway, let's try to open this without cutting the pouch. And I'll bet that this is the warranty card. I'm not even going to try to get it out of there right now, but I'm pretty sure that's what that is. It is nice that it comes with a pouch. I think a lot of them, even the high-end ones, are not coming with any kind of, you know, extras, accessories anymore. So it's kind of, you know, it's a nice little pouch. You could use it for more than the Leatherman also. I have made little EDC kits in these, but it matches the navy. And so let's look at this. So first of all, as you can see, it does have the spring-loaded pliers. I'm not an expert in, you know, multi-tools, but it seems like the pliers look good. I don't know that they come completely together at the very top there of those cutters. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if that'll make a big deal or not, but just something to be aware of. I don't really feel any like wobble in the pliers, so that's nice. And then you got kind of a similar tool set again. Got that flathead and Phillips. And then over here, the same thing. The serrated blade, file / ruler, can opener, bottle opener, and wire stripper. And you've got the pocket clip, which, you know, if you want to open this, if you want to take it out of your pocket, the pocket clip, I'll show you with my oven mitt pocket that my wife makes. That's how it would look in the pocket. And then when you would take it out, you know, if this is in your right front pocket, which is where I typically carry a modern knife, you would take it out, and then this is the main blade. So it is, you know, it's set up for tip down, which I don't typically prefer on modern knives, but it makes sense the way that it's set up. Whereas, like, for example, the power pint, which I think I have over in my pile of stuff to sharpen, the power pint doesn't have it set up so that it's right there. But anyway, let's see. This is much easier. That was really like kind of the main thing that I was hoping for on this, is that the blade was easier to open. And it does feel easier to open. So definitely easier to open than on the, again, the bolster. And now, as you can see, the inside tools on both of these are non-locking. It's difficult to open, whereas this is locking. You can see it's not going to drop closed or anything like that. You do have to push it the whole way closed, but it is locking and definitely significantly easier to open. So I'm happy with that. I am glad that it's easier to open. And then you have the saw, which is supposed to be one-hand openable, but I'm not exactly sure how you would do that. I guess like that, which is also locking, you can see. This is a nice looking saw. It reminds me a lot of the Victorinox saws, which I find work really well. Interesting little kind of anecdote. At one point I was working with my brother to try to produce a multi-tool, and we wanted to have different implements, different tools that could be fit into a handle basically. And one of them was a saw, and we could not find anywhere in the USA that would do like OEM manufacturing for someone else of this type of saw with the alternating teeth. So, you know, these do say that they are made in the USA from domestic and global parts. So, you know, I certainly don't know. They could be made in USA. Leatherman could make them right there. But I had a lot of trouble finding someone that could make this type of saw in the USA. But again, this is locking. I don't know that I would really call this one-hand opening. I just don't think it's super practical with it being on this side. I guess you could do it with your other hand, and that's probably, you know, the best way to do it. And it is, you know, closable when you have it in that other hand. So you're probably going to have to open the saw in your left hand, which, if you're left-handed, there you go, use the saw. But it's harder to open. I mean, it's still easier to open, I would say, than the blade on the bolster, but not super smooth, but it does lock, and it can be opened one-handed. And then again, that is much nicer than on the bolster. So I'm planning to put this to use. I don't know that I need both of them, so I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do with the bolster, but planning to put this to use, and we'll see how it holds up. I've seen a lot of talk on Reddit and other places online about Leatherman and their quality, and you know the tools that they're coming out with, and a lot of opinions on that. I don't really have much of a say in it because I don't buy the expensive ones, or I haven't. I was considering getting an ARC, but I haven't bought the expensive ones. Like I say, I only have the bolster, which was $40, and now this one, which was $50. So I'm not like a power user of Leathermans, but I thought I'd check this one out. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, click the bell, and select all so you know when I post new videos. Check out my website, knifethoughts.com, where I post articles on knives and multi-tools and other EDC stuff like this. And last but not least, as always, don't forget to go out and do good.